Ok, clase, este video es muy corto. Es sobre el imperfecto, pero solamente los verbos irregulares. So this video is about the imperfect tense, which we just learned. However, I'm just showing you the irregular verbs in the imperfect tense, which, let's move on. There are only, and I mean only, tres verbos irregulares in the imperfecto. So there's only 3 irregular verbs in the imperfect tense. That's amazing! Just as this cute little kid's face is kind of saying. So anyway, the 3 verbos are ser, ir, and ver. This is again another reason why so many people love using the imperfect tense in Spanish or when it comes to learn this tense, because as we learned, the conjugations are fun to pronounce, and on top of that, stem change verbs are like non-existent, and at the same time, there's only 3 irregular verbs. So all in all, what a great tense. So great. So here's the conjugaciones of the tres verbos irregulares in the imperfecto. We have ser, which means to be, as we know. So in the imperfect, this is how it is conjugated. Era, eras, era, éramos, eran. So I was, you were used to be. He, she used to be or was, we were or we used to be, so on and so forth. So notice only in the nosotros form does it have an acento. The second verbo irregular is ir, which means to go, as we all know. The pronunciations are iba, ibas, iba, ibamos, iban. Again, noticing that only the nosotros form has the acento, the accent mark. So I went, or I used to go, you went, or you used to go, so on and so forth. Again, keeping the phrase used to in mind, as it's very important when using the imperfect tense. Okay, and ver means to see. The only thing that kind of is irregular about this is that, you know, you would drop the ER and you're only left with a V. Instead, though, you kind of keep the E in these conjugations and you just add the ending, so you're really just dropping the R. That's why it's considered to be irregular, but other than that, it doesn't really look irregular. So, veía, veías, veía, veíamos, veían. So, I saw or I used to see, so on and so forth. Okay, so pause the video if you need extra tiempo to write those down. The next slide, I'm just kind of showing you some ejemplos of some oraciones using some of these verbos or just using verbos in el imperfecto in general, so just using any kind of verb in the imperfect tense. So let's look at this oración. It says, Cuando era niña, yo iba al parque con mi perro todos los días. So when I was or used to be a little girl, I used to go or I went to the park with my dog every day. So just for you to see it in context and in some oraciones. This phrase, cuando era niña or cuando era niño, is muy popular. So very popular when using the imperfect. Again, because keeping in mind, we use the imperfect to tell habitual things. It's continuous actions in the past tense. That's why it's different from the preterite tense. And so we use this a lot to tell stories. And so this phrase, cuando era niña or cuando era niño, like when I was a child, you know, that's a very very famous phrase, or it's just, you're going to use that phrase a lot when using the imperfect. So the next ejemplo I have is cuando era niña, yo creía en el Papá Noel. También yo no dormía en la Nochebuena nunca. So when I was a little girl, I used to believe in Santa Claus. Also, I never slept on Christmas Eve. So this is really all I have for este video, just so you can see some irregular verbs. Again, there's only 3, and again, those 3 is ir, ver, and ser. So don't forget that. Memorize how to conjugate them in the imperfecto. Other than that, we'll have some more práctico with this en clase. Adiós y Dios te bendiga. Chao.